Today on our 2018 Ford F-150, you're going to be taking a look at, I'm going to show you how to install the Roadmaster diode wiring kit. This is what our plug looks like when it's installed. Once you get all your wires connected and you have it mounted in the location you choose, you're going to want to test it out and make sure everything's working properly. Our customer chose to have it here in the center, kind of hidden out of the way, so when he puts his license plate on, all this is covered up. This bracket here, I actually made this so I can fit all of our other components on it. If you have the active air dam, make sure if you mount it here, none of the wires are going to get in the way of that closing and opening. Even if you choose to mount anything inside of here, the top of the air dam, there's a plastic guard that will have to be cut. You're not going to be able to attach to that, it's too flimsy. You will have to drill into the top of the bumper. If you choose not to do it that way, you can also go down here. There's a nice hard piece of plastic down here on the bottom, and it's nice and high off the ground. For our particular application, the 6-pole plug did not come with the diode kit. However, there are many different options for plugs that you can find here at eTrailer.com. Now we're going to test out our wiring using an alternate power source. This is going to simulate being hooked up to your RV. Taillights, left turn, brake lights, right turn. This is what our diode wiring kit's going to look like when we get it. This is going to be your 30-foot of wire you're going to run to the back of the vehicle. You can see we have two ends on it. If your RV does not have an existing 7-pole plug, you're going to take about 3 foot off one side and you're going to cut that off. That's going to be connected to your RV. The other side, the 4-pole plug is going to hang out the front. You're going to run the rest of the wire back to the back of the vehicle, which is going to be connected into the factory wiring on the back of your taillights through these diodes. Now what these diodes are going to do, they're going to protect your factory wiring from any backfeed from the RV if the RV has a wiring issue, or vice versa. It's going to protect the RV wiring from your F-150 if it has a wiring issue. These are going to have an aluminum coating on them. They're going to resist any rust or corrosion. Now, it's also going to come with a few butt connectors to connect your wiring through your RV. I would suggest, if you're going to be doing it this way, to switch these out with some heat shrink butt connectors. You can find them on our website using part number DW05745. You're also going to get a little bit of wire loom, some zip ties to help attach your wire as you're running to the back of the vehicle, and you're going to get a tether that's going to go between your RV and your towed vehicle. Now for our particular application, we're not going to be using our tether, and we're actually going to be cutting off both ends because on our towed vehicle side, we're going to be connecting a 6-pole plug. Now we're going to go ahead and cut off one end. We're not going to use a 3-foot section because our RV already has a 7-pole plug on it. So we will not be needing this end. Now I'm going to route my wire to the back of the vehicle. Let me get that done real quick and I'll show you how I did it. So what I've done is I attached my 4-pole right here just to make sure I have extra when I put my bumper back on. Now your directions tell you to run it through the passenger side, which I did. It doesn't necessarily have to do it that way. You can do it through the driver's side. It really doesn't matter. I went through my passenger side frame rail right here, and I used an airline tube. If you have a wire hanger, something with a little bit stiffness to it, it makes it a lot easier. You have holes all the way down the frame rail on the outside, so it makes it easy to take it and route it through the holes so you get all the way to the other side. So I went from that hole where I put it in, I came out of this hole, took my airline tube, went back through it, went to the next hole, and just worked my way all the way to the back of the vehicle to right here at the end of the frame. Next, we're going to remove our taillights. Take an 8mm socket. You're going to have 2 bolts that you need to remove. We're going to have our plug here. We're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to push on this gray tab right here, and we'll pull it out, and then we'll set our light aside. Now I'm going to remove the coating on the wiring. Just be careful when you're doing this so you don't cut any of your wires. A lot of times if you get it started, you can usually unravel it. Then we're going to do that same thing on the other side of the vehicle. Now with the light tester, we determined that the two wires that we're going to be using is going to be our blue wire, that's going to be our running light wire on our passenger side, and then the green wire with the orange or brownish color stripe. That's going to be our brake light signal and turn signal. I'm going to go ahead and cut my blue wire first. Strip back both ends. These wires are pretty thin, so I would strip back a little bit extra so that you can double them over. We're going to take the diode with the yellow butt connector. Go ahead and take off the two blue ones and attach them to your wires that you just cut or just stripped. Then you're going to take the single side that says out, that's going out to the light, in. Go ahead and connect one side to that like that. Now we're going to feed our 4-pole wiring up through the bottom of the vehicle and in through the tail light pocket here. You can see where our existing wiring runs. There's a hole that goes right to the bottom of the vehicle. Now we're going to take all of our wire and we're going to separate it. I'm going to separate it about down to the hole there. Yellow wire, I'm going to pass back down through the hole. And then my brown wire, I'm only going to cut off what I need. I want to make sure that stays taut there. Now I'm going to cut my brown wire. The plug actually hooks into the light kind of up like this. So you just want to make sure you're not cutting this too short. So good measurement. If you hit the top of this, you should be good. Go ahead and cut that, and you want to hold on to both sides. Go ahead and strip both of them. We're going to take these two, tie them together like this, and then we're going to add on the yellow terminal. Go ahead and add that onto the other side of our diode. And then our brown wire, the other piece that we added on is going to be the jumper for the running lights that we're going to run over to the other side of the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and pass that down through the hole. Now we're going to do the same thing with our green and orange wire for our brake light and turn signal. We'll do the same thing with our green wire coming from our 4-pole wiring that we ran to the back of the vehicle. Go ahead and add your spade connector, and it's going to go right on the end like that. And all we have left is our white wire here on our passenger side. White wire is going to be our ground. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to ground it right there, as long as you're on metal, not on any plastic. It should work. Make sure the metal is clean though. You have a ring terminal that comes in your kit. Go ahead and add that on after you strip it. We're going to add a self-tapping screw. I'm going to take a little bit of electrical tape and tape it to this existing wiring here. That'll help keep it up. Now on the back of each diode, you're going to have some sticky tape. These are going to be hard to get, stick them in here and get this plug on the back of the lights. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to stick them together. Peel off one side. Stick them together like this. And then we'll take a zip tie, and I'll run a zip tie around them also. I'm going to take some silicone, RTV silicone. If you don't have any, you can find some on our website. You notice how that kind of makes a pocket What we want to do is we want to fill that so no water or moisture sits in there. So that's what we're going to be using the silicone for. We're going to kind of fill it in. Now we can reinstall our taillight. Make sure you get all the pegs lined up. Once you get them lined up, so you're going to pop it into place. That's what I did with my yellow wire and then my brown wire. I went over the top of my frame rail right here. Notice right up here above our spare tire, I zip tied it right there, or zip tied my two wires there. It's going to keep them up and away from my spare tire if I ever have to take it down. And I just went up and over my frame here on our driver's side. Now, this is common. The wire might be too short. In the situation that we have, we're not going to be using our tether, the 4-pole wire that goes between the two vehicles. So I utilize the brown wire to extend it to add on to the driver's side here. Now we can take this and go right up through the pocket into our taillight housing. Then here on our driver's side, we determine that our blue wire with our white stripe is going to be our running light signal, and then our gray wire with the orange stripe is going to be our brake light and turn signal. Yellow wire is going to go with our gray and orange for our turn signal and brake light, and then our brown wire that we jumped from our passenger side, we hook it on to the diode with the blue wire. And we'll reinstall our taillight. Once we have all of our additional wiring we're going to be adding ran to the front of the vehicle, we're going to reinstall our bumper in reverse order from the way we took it off. Now, our customer chose to go with a 6-pole plug on the front of their Ford F-150. So we're not going to be using the 4-pole plug that our wiring kit comes with, or our diode kit. So we're going to be cutting that end off. I would suggest leaving yourself just a little bit of extra when doing this. It's going to make it a lot easier to hook up to the back of the plug. And if there's ever an issue where a wire breaks off or comes loose, you can always cut it back just a little bit. It gives you plenty of room to work. Now you're going to have a rubber boot that comes on the back of your plug. You want to make sure you put the skinny end in first. You're going to feed all your wires through it before you attach your wiring to your plug. Now you'll notice we have an extra wire, the red wire. That's to a battery charge line. That allows your battery in your towed vehicle to trickle charge while it's being flat towed. What's really nice about our 6-pole plug is on the back, it actually tells you what wire is going to go where, or what function works in what spot. For instance, RT for right turn, LT for left turn, GD for ground, TM is going to be your running lights. A, which is center post, is auxiliary. That's where you would hook your battery charge line, and you'll have an extra pin that says S on it. We're just going to be utilizing the, we won't be utilizing the S. We'll be using the center post and our 4 for all of our lights on our vehicle. So we'll start with our right turn, which is the one right here on this bottom corner, which is going to be our green wire. We use a Phillips or flathead screwdriver. I do recommend these little screws. Don't take them out all the way because they're little and you can lose them very easily. Our very bottom one's going to be our left turn, which is going to be our yellow wire. And then GD for ground, which is our white. It's a good idea, once you have your wires hooked up, take a little bit of dielectric grease. If you don't have any, you can find some on our website, and cover up your connections. It's going to help keep the moisture from sitting on them and corroding. Then we'll take our boot and slide it over like that. One thing I like to do, because all of our wires are colored, is take a little bit of wire loom and feed it on there before you put any tape on, just to kind of hide it. It's completely up to you. It's just something I like to do. I think it makes the install look a lot cleaner. Once I have my wire loom on, I'm going to take some electrical tape. I'm going to start right here on this top edge. Just like that. I'm going to wrap it all the way down over top my loom. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the Roadmaster Diode wiring kit on our 2018 Ford F-150.